right, so okay. Bring it on.
Jesus.
Bring it on back. So, not this past weekend, but the week before the divisional round. You got Kansas City Chiefs and was it the Cleveland Browns?
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes gets choked out of the game, right?
And who was his backup?
Some dude.
I forgot. I don't even know his name.
It's not really important. He did win in the game.
He did.
So to speak.
He
But
did what he needed to
the
do as a
Patrick
backup.
Mahomes thing, there was like, concussion protocol. So I'm watching the replay. I'm like, he didn't hit his head. Now, he definitely got up wobbly. I've had a concussion before where I didn't get hit in the head, but I got like pushed really hard in the back by a
was it
300
like the
pound
wind got
man.
knocked out of you?
No, it was whiplash.
Oh,
So
okay.
you do that, it's like shaking baby syndrome or something. My brain rattled inside my skull. It was bad though, because like concussions ain't no joke.
No, they're
And
not.
I had full body cramps like a couple hours later where like everything just, and they lasted for like spasms of like 3 to 4 minutes of just the whole body. So that ain't nothing to play with. So he had to go through concussion protocol. He was cleared. Basically, he got choked out for a split second by the way his neck bent. He was good to go. But like we see injuries happen all the time in the NFL,
Right.
right? And at any given moment, your star player could be out.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally any
And I
second.
mean, as a former player, I've had torn ligaments, like tore a ligament in my knee, had to have surgery on my thumb, broken hand, herniated discs. It was like Mike Tyson. My back is broken. I broke my back. I know you've seen that interview.
Yeah,
but
I did.
all those injuries, the worst pain I've ever had in my life,
Was,
ever. Well, at least top 5, outside of a broken heart when Valentine's Day comes around in elementary school, and then you put the Valentines in the little people's cards, and the one girl that you thought was going to get the big Valentine to you, she gave it to somebody else. That's neither here or there. I don't even remember her name, like Jantine Turner or something like that, but that's not the point.
name and everything. Okay,
Little
go ahead.
chocolate time. But anyway.
You remember vividly, but
I remember. No, but so the point is, like, all the injuries and all that kind of stuff. I got kidney stones, and I'm gonna tell you, people have said, I'm not making this up. It's not the man's point of view. Like women have said it too, that it was like the next worst thing to like giving birth, and which I'd heard that before, and I was like, I gotta call it. That's cap.
painful.
Like that's cap. There's no
No.
way. Like I've seen what happens like giving birth and stuff. Nah, I've seen it. The baby face popping out of stuff and stuff opening up. Like your whole body literally, it's like on some Transformers type stuff. Like you turn into a different.
Human, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, this is the next worst thing. So I'm thinking like, okay, well maybe it's not that bad then. And then the kidney stone was like, oh really?
Like,
Take this and this. I was like, it felt like somebody was like stabbing me, like
Yeah.
them, what's them things that you use to open wine bottle? You
the
just
cork.
had your birthday.
The cork.
Yeah. You probably used one for your birthday weekend.
I didn't actually.
Oh, you just straight to the.
Just champagne bottles.
Oh, you was popping bottles.
Pop.
Don't they have corks too though?
Yeah, but you don't need
You
the
don't have
screw.
to
You
screw
don't have
and
to do.
twist.
You just.
Well, when those like the little wine corkscrew things.
Yeah.
I felt like somebody took one of those and stabbed me up here under my ribs from this way, and then they just kept twisting it. And so I was like, okay, eventually it's gonna go away, right? I'm asleep. I finally go to sleep, middle of the night. So I'm just, I just first want to extend a heartfelt appreciation for all the mothers out there that have given birth, or even not just given birth, but just carried a child, brought life into the world, gone through the process. There are some mothers that don't have their children anymore, and they still had to go through that whole process. Heart goes out to you because that hurted. So I tried to take some stuff.
Tried to take a serious moment, and then he said, "I heard it," and it just. Sorry.
It
Go ahead.
hurted. No, it hurt is not enough to express. How the church folks said, if I had 10,000 tongues, I could not say how much That hurted. So I got my little canteen with my water with lemon juice in it. Just trying to flush out my system. And it seems like I'm not the only one that needs to be flushing out my system. Birthday girl.
Yeah. Yeah, total flush. Just
So go ahead and shout out your Instagram name so they can go watch the Bust It Challenge. Bust it.
no.
Bust it. Did you do the Bust It Challenge? Did you do it?
But it's not recorded, so it don't count.
So that's even worse. Actually, that means you was just out there busting it just...
It was just me and my girls. I mean...
Why?
It was clean, wholesome fun.
Take out the L.
Did y'all hear this?
Well, I'm wrong.
What?
And this is whose side are you on? Clearly, we ain't got no sense. And by we, mostly I mean me.
You don't.
Tori's just here so she don't get fined.
Facts.
Well, we're just discussing sports and, interestingly enough, spirituality. In which today's episode, you can see that we need Jesus.
Clearly.
And by we, I mean mostly her.
Not this one, too.
You pointing fingers. Let she who is without gin cast the first stone. I'm gonna sip my water.
I don't drink gin, so it's all good.
Straight.
Huh? What?
Hen. Let she who is without hen. I'm sorry.
I didn't have that either. So.
It's everything else on the shelf. But nah, championship weekend. So
Yup.
He's like, wait, what? How did you just get back to this? Don't worry, we're gonna edit this real nice and she's gonna put it together. You probably won't even know I said most of this crazy stuff that I said. But if and you do, oh well.
Huh? Well, yeah.
Championship weekend. Who did you pick? Because we had
Yes.
we had the Chiefs and the Bills. And
Uh-huh.
then we had old 12 versus older 12. We had Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Well, really, it was the Packers versus the Bucks, but everybody likes to
Do the Tom
marquee,
12,
yeah.
12, yeah, all that stuff. Well, everybody I picked won. I picked the Bucks, and I picked the Chiefs.
So I got to do a quick shout out real quick, if you don't mind, to my boy A-Line Page in Fresno, who back in July 2020 said, Chiefs, Bucks in the Super Bowl. Quote him. So I'm quoting him. And he put it on Twitter, so it's verifiable.
Okay.
Now, granted, he's a Chiefs fan because his dad was like one of the all-time greats. Stephon Page played for the Chiefs back in the 80s, receiver, yeah.
Okay.
So I see why he picked the Chiefs, but he called the Bucks. And a lot of people doubted Tom Terrific over and over again.
Yep.
He said he's too old.
Too old. And,
He's
I
going
mean,
to a new
you saw how the
team.
season started. It looked
They was
bad.
starting off. They wasn't the greatest.
horrible.
He brought Gronk out of the retirement home.
He was yelling at people on the sidelines. It was
He's
just
always been
rough.
yelling at people on the sidelines, though.
But it was
that's
like
nothing new.
consistent.
That's
It was
nothing new.
consistent.
You could take clips. They could be winning by 20, 30 points, and if somebody doesn't run the right route, Tom Brady cussing them out. That's just
True. I can see that.
he's a competitor on the field, but at home he's kissing his kids in the mouth. I mean, it's just you can't put Tom in the
He
box.
didn't do it yesterday, though.
You can't put Tom in the box.
He didn't do it in the championship game.
That you
remember
saw.
Oh, that's true.
We don't see everything.
Well, he brought his kid down from.
Oh, you're talking about the kiss part.
Yeah.
Hey man, he didn't do it at the field. That's that man's business. But on the field, that's Tom Terrific. I completely didn't think that the Bucks were gonna win this game yesterday
Really?
because they were playing in Green Bay. Their defense wasn't the greatest, especially outside the numbers, and that's
their
where
star safety
Aaron
was out.
Rodgers. That's where Aaron Rodgers shines. You got missing people. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You expect. Green Bay was supposed to go to the Super Bowl last year. I have no idea how they lost to the 49ers, but they did. They were supposed to whip the Niners. This year, they were supposed to destroy Tampa Bay based on what the numbers stated as far as the matchups.
Yeah,
Right? You got
but that offense
Devontae
said
Adams,
nope.
the best receiver in the game. But Tampa Bay had a plan. or did the NFL have a plan? Is it really a conspiracy? Because everybody's like, the league cheats for Tom Brady. They called penalties, and Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions.
Okay, yeah, he did.
And
3
they
interceptions,
won.
and they won. But then this is the big thing that when I was watching the game, like, why would you do this? You kick a field goal when you have Aaron Rodgers on
I know what you're talking about. So it's 4th and goal.
right.
The coach basically said they didn't get any yards the previous 3 plays, so he wasn't betting. First of all, why didn't Aaron Rodgers run? You may never know. Like, you watch the different camera angles, he had a lane. Mm-hmm. Just last week he ran. It was all good just a week ago. But this time he decides for whatever reason to throw back across his body, try to force it into Tay. They didn't get it, so it's like, and he wasn't, and he also said that I think he called that play, because he sometimes calls his own plays, but he was like, if I would have known that, I wasn't going to have 4th down to use, I would have called a different play, like maybe some crossing routes or something. So there's a little buzz going around, like, is A-Rod done in Green Bay? Like, is he?
I mean, from his press conference, he sounded
Sounded
like
out.
he was out.
Where do you think he ends up?
I don't know, because he still has what, till 2023 on his contract. And so where else? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would still take him, but.
Oh, I'm sure people would take him, especially the 49ers.
Yeah.
He's
But
from here.
Speaking of the Niners,
They shouldn't have passed up on him in the first time.
that part, and they're eyeing another quarterback who's not happy.
Who was that?
Deshaun Watson.
Why is Deshaun Watson not happy?
Ooh.
This is a rhetorical question. But you go ahead and tell us why Deshaun Watson is not happy.
I mean, for starters, no, I'm not going to say the obvious one just yet. For starters, he had one of his
obvious ones. But
For one, he had one of his best season he could possibly have, and the Texans just crapped on him. What was their record? Like 4-12, 5-11, something like that?
Something terrible.
Something
I know I won a
awful.
couple of bets because one of my boys that's in my Madden league told me, oh, yeah, they got rid of D-Hop. They're going to be a better team now because he's not going to just have to force the ball to one guy. The Texans are going to go 11-5.
Switch.
And I was like, bro,
Switch around.
like whatever it is that you smoking.
Clearly, it's something.
So every week when the Texans would lose, I'm like, yeah, that bet ain't looking too good for you. Like I didn't want to take his money. So after like week 7, when it was already out, I was like, I'm not taking your money. But the point was, I was just like, come on, bro, that's his top weapon. One. Oh nah, Will Fuller's gonna be the new number 1. I mean, they did bring in Brandon Cooks.
I mean, but he still
Great
pulled off some
receiver,
great numbers.
But it's not D-Hop.
But it's not,
though.
of course not.
That's D-Hop. Like,
And their
throw the
defense
ball up
was-
on 7 people at the end of the game. Man's shoes wasn't even tied good. Gloves wasn't strapped up. And he still goes up and catches the ball. So it's great defense. It was a better catch by eye. And then he took a drink. I don't know what he had in his. But this lemon water is pretty good. Thanks, Jazz.
No, I think the other reason he wants out is that organization is just, I'm going to say it, people, racist.
Oh, she pulled a race card again.
I did.
That's like 2 shows.
I did, yes.
Every show
It's
you
not every
people
show.
get to talking about.
No, because
What-
what
what-
was their late owner made that comment years ago about you can't just have the inmates running the prison.
And then he apologized.
And then he apologized, but then took it back and said he shouldn't have apologized.
So he apologized for apologizing about something. Because he said it wasn't about the players. People took
Yeah,
that
he
out
said
of
it was about the
context.
front office, about
And the executives,
the
and all that
executives.
stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't believe he knew that.
That was not
But
crap.
that's nothing new. Like, what are the majority of owners in professional sports? Not just football, but just professional sports, period. You don't even have to Google this one. I'll go out on a limb and say that the majority of them are old, moneyed individuals. And by old money, I mean...
White. I said it, white. They look like What's his name?
They're old.
Well, that too. Except old boy from the Jaguars owner.
Well, he's like really, really rich.
Yeah.
He's not like regular rich.
He's wealthy.
That's not even wealthy. There's like another category for that one. That's like some get
well
Oprah on the
off.
phone and let's go chill on the island. Which one, yours or mine? Type rich. Like there's a whole different. Yeah. But he's what? What is it? He's like Middle Eastern or
I think
something
he's
like that.
he's Middle Eastern, I think. But yeah, except them.
Right, but I'm saying just in sports in general, like you have minority owners. The fact
Right.
that they even call them minority owners, just
Like what?
meaning,
Is it Will Smith, a minority owner of the Dolphins?
is he?
I think it's him,
And
A-Rod,
Serena and Venus,
and yeah.
and all, that was a while ago.
Do they still
and
have
Jennifer
them?
Lopez? I don't know. But no, what I'm saying is, because like, for example, LeBron put some stock into a soccer team when he first got into the NBA, and now that's like going stupid as far as his money is concerned. So there's players that have minority stakes, because it's just a smart investment. Like you know that the business is always going to be booming. But I mean in terms of like even Magic Johnson with the Dodgers, and like Magic got money too. Like Magic had
Magic
theaters,
rolling in money.
Starbucks, was it Pepsi or Coke? One of them.
One of them drinks.
He got but Magic got stuff, and he always, like I read his, I think it was his autobiography from when I was a little kid.
Okay.
And he was always talking about, he always looked up to the businessmen, like in Lansing.
Like the front office and just,
So he always wanted to, like, I want to be the dude wearing a suit, carrying a briefcase, you know, being a CEO type guy. So that's always been his move, even like when he got into the league. You got guys like Shaq that got a little bit of everything. This dude sells car insurance, pizza,
what was it?
Icy Hot.
Icy Hot. Yep. He just got hired somewhere in Georgia as their something for the voting thing in Georgia.
I don't know, he was like a sheriff in Miami and stuff. Like, this dude got his, but with his kids, something I thought was really cool, like, he tells them before he gives them a business, like as they're graduate, they have to get 2 degrees.
Hey, that's what's up.
2 degrees and then you get a business.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm going to just, you graduate from high school, I'm going to give you a car, I'm going to give you, here's your own apartment. Like, no, you got to get 2 degrees, so I need the high school one, and I need a college. Or I need a college, and I need a master's. So then you get a business to run. So it's like, what do you want to do? Oh, because then you got Deion Sanders. I'm not paying her no attention right now. See, I could keep a straight face and keep going. You got Deion Sanders, like his daughter, DeAndra. She's like into fashion and hair. So she sells like ponytails. And then you got Deion Jr., who used to play football, wasn't really good at that. He's also doing clothing.
Fashion.
Yeah, but his is off of, it's like, what is it called? The GOAT, something like that. It's all like stuff off of his dad, like the pictures of his dad on the shirts and, and chains.
So
whatever it's
second, he's selling off of his daddy's face. Like. He's not, not necessarily doing his own thing.
That's the purpose of building a legacy, so that your kids can live off of it, right?
True, but it's not really his own
He still has to be creative and put the product out there and market it.
Yeah.
But see, what's the difference in like what they call it, nepotism, and what people, like I said, you don't get to be having old money by being the first one to have it. Like that money is generational. So to be somebody that inherits a football team, like, oh yeah, my great grandfather was the owner of the Steelers back in the, and now you're just automatically an owner.
A lot of those teams, that's how they became owners.
And they just pass it down. They pass it down to
Texans,
their kids.
I know the Browns is one of them.
Pass it down, and then you got people
Cowboys.
running these organizations, and who do they want to hire in these positions? They want to hire people that think like they do, old money, right? To run their business. It's like any other corporation, though. But the CEO is never going to be at Walmart interviewing the greeters.
Well, no, of course not.
Right?
But
so they want to put people in place that they trust to do that stuff for them. They don't want to micromanage. So what they do is they hire general managers, right? The general managers hire a head coach.
Right.
The head coach hires coordinators.
Yeah.
The coordinators hire
assistants.
position coaches or assistants,
Right.
and they're the ones that interact directly with the players.
Right.
So that's why you see white general managers for the most part, white head coaches, and then black coordinators.
Because they're interacting directly with the
black
players.
assistants. Black
But
black
still,
players.
wouldn't it would, as a player, I would think that you would give more respect to your organization if your head coach is black, and like you would see that your organization is trying to move forward in the right direction. Shouldn't they?
Not necessarily.
Wait, isn't there? Wait a minute. Isn't there
Who
the Rooney
signs
rule?
the checks? The Rooney Rule is just
You just
a
have to interview them.
You have to interview a minority coach so that you can check that box off and then hire.
But even though
the
they
dude
already
that you
have,
really
yeah,
want to.
that's true. They'll still hire the
So
person
look
they
at all
want.
the look
and
at
then
all the coaching vacancies. There's like what 7?
There was 7.
There was 7, right?
Yep.
And look at the guys that got hired. Let me look this dude's name up because I don't want to mess this up. But this was the one
Oh,
that
I
stood
know
out to me.
I know
The Detroit
exactly which one
Lions.
you're talking about.
The picture of the gym just
Yes.
popped up on my phone.
Yeah, the one he was
Detroit
on
Lions
vacation.
New coach. So
Didn't
wait.
even know. Like,
Oh. Detroit Lions reportedly adding Deuce Staley as assistant head coach. Shout out to Deuce.
okay.
Former running back, played for the Eagles for a long time.
Again,
and he
assistant.
left. He didn't want it, but assistant head coach though. It's like
yeah.
it's almost up there. But they
Almost,
had
but
who was
almost-
it?
almost
Matt
doesn't count.
Patricia. That's what Brandy said.
Yeah.
It counts in horseshoes and hand grenades though. If I throw a hand grenade at you, I ain't got to hit you with it. I just got to get it close. It's gonna blow something up. Boom,
Appreciate it.
boom.
Appreciate
What's
it.
dude's name?
The-
Wait, Detroit trying to come up. Motor City. Detroit Lions to hire Anthony Lynn as offensive coordinator. They must have
okay.
known we was about to do this show.
They
He
must
was
have
the-
knew.
He was the coach that got
We
fired
about to
from the
call you
Chargers.
out.
The black
Out,
coach
out.
that got fired from the Chargers. Yeah. So they just hired 2 black coaches. But
Okay. It's not
none
a
of
head
that
coach.
matters to me because
You're not a GM. It's not a head coach.
No, so somebody got a black GM too.
The Dolphins, but the Dolphins have a black head coach and a black GM. So they're already in the
So
right
that's the
direction.
dude's name. His name is
They're
Dan
solid.
Campbell.
Huh?
Yeah, let's look up Dan Campbell. Because the first thing I saw about Dan Campbell was the speech that he gave about biting people in the kneecaps. The attitude of this team is, and she's gonna she's gonna play the clip, but I'm gonna just say what I remember anyway. He's like, they'll knock us down one time,
Yes.
and we're not gonna stay down. We're gonna bite you on the kneecaps, and then we're gonna
Like,
get
this
up.
is-
All right. Here's what I do know is that this team is going to take on the identity of this city. All right. And this city's been down and it found a way to get up. All right. It's found a way to overcome adversity. All right. And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right. That's going to be the mentality.
And you're gonna have to knock us
You
down
know,
again.
he reminds me of
and
a
we'll get back
certain
up and we'll punch in the
person
kneecaps.
that was in
and
a really high position in this country who shall remain nameless.
45. So wait.
He said it.
So here's it. This is what the president and CEO says about him. Dan's passion for this opportunity was evident throughout our interview process. When we began the search for a head coach, it was imperative that we find the right leader. If I had a speech impediment and I didn't pronounce my R's correctly, it would have came out as white leader who values our commitment to building a winning culture based on organizational alignment and collaboration. The leadership Dan has exemplified throughout his football career has prepared him for this next step, and we are excited to support him as our new head coach. Campbell brings 22 years of NFL experience to the Lions, including 11 years as a coach and 11 as a player. He most recently served as the assistant head coach / tight ends coach for the New Orleans Saints. The tight ends coach. Now, the reason that's very important to say is because for the longest time when it would be like a black coach or a coordinator or somebody that wanted to get a head coaching job, they would be like, well, you got to call your own plays. You got to be like an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator.
Yep.
That's cap because look at the Steelers. Who's the Steelers head coach?
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, also known as Omar Epps. He don't call no plays. He looked just like Omar Epps. Come on. You've seen it. He don't call the offense or the defense, but he's the head coach, right? But then he worked his way up through the Tampa Bay Buccaneers system with Tony Dungy. Like, Tony Dungy was known for putting on a lot of black coaches that have gotten to higher positions.
He's still trying to do that.
And now, if you look in Tampa right now, Bruce Arians, he's a white coach, but he got some soul to him. Like, he been cool with the brothers since the 70s at least, or even before then. But almost all of his coordinators is black.
Yep, that's true.
Highly qualified.
But I mean,
the offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, former NFL quarterback.
We all know who really coaches
should
that
be
team.
up for a head coaching position.
We all know who really coaches that team, though.
Who really coaches that team?
The Bucks.
Tom ain't been there that long. Tom just got there
Bruce
this
Arians
year.
just said that he's the one pulling all the strings.
Listen, they was beefing at the beginning of the season.
Facts.
Bruce Arians was
Because
throwing Tom under the bus.
he did not want Antonio Brown on his team, and what happened?
It's still Tom. You gotta appease your guy. That's the franchise. I mean, they got rid of 50-50. I call Jameis Winston 50-50 because it's a 50% chance it's going to be a touchdown. It's a 50% chance it's going to be an interception. The stats and the numbers support that. He literally threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions last year. 5,000 yards passing, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
How are you going to do the man like that?
He got my favorite, well, not my favorite. He's got several of my favorite interviews of all time. The one where he's talking about eating a W and he twisted his fingers up and then, and Deshaun Jackson in the background like, what's wrong with Cuz? Like, what's wrong with Cuz?
He just did that too.
He did it again. When Drew Brees was doing an interview and this fool walk up. It's the dude that stole the crab legs when he was in college.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Jameis got some issues, but he got his eyes fixed, which is good. He had LASIK. He had LASIK surgery in the offseason, so I don't anticipate that moving forward he would throw nearly as many interceptions. Listen, I can't make this up. This is just a little side story. I'm on it's like Instagram Live. One of my guys, Drew Lieberman, he has a page called The Sideline Hustle. He does a lot of coaching position stuff for receivers. And I don't know if it was his interview or somebody else's, but we were all on there and we were talking about defensive coverages and being able to recognize what the defense is doing, the same as the quarterbacks from the receiver position. And so I said, as a player, I used to try to piss the defense off by calling out what their coverage was while I was running down the field. Just to be like, oh, they in cover 2, the ball going over here. Like, just to tell them, like, I know what you're doing. You can't stop me. Mike Evans is on this in this same chat. Mike Evans is a receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this was last year. So he was like, bruh, I used to do the same thing because Jameis couldn't see what the defense was doing. So I used to tell him, like, yo, they ain't cover 3. Yo, they ain't cover. This is coming from somebody that actually played. So me calling them 50-50 is nowhere near as bad as somebody that actually was on his team saying they got to shout out the coverages because that quarterback couldn't see. Eli Manning used to close his eyes and throw it up to Odell. It's pictures. Look it up. Odell's out there somewhere. Just throw it up. He getting hit. He got his eyes closed. You talking about throwing up a prayer? That's what they tell you when you pray. Bow your head and close your eyes, because that's what Eli Manning did every time he threw one up.
All the time.
But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
The issue is we got all these black coordinators
Yep.
that are highly qualified. Eric Bieniemy, another one, coordinator from the Super Bowl defending champs,
Why does
Kansas
he
City
not
Chiefs.
have a coaching job?
After last year, so a lot of times coordinators, especially around this time of year, well, this is when they call it the coaching carousel.
Right.
Coaches is getting fired, coaches is getting hired.
Or they're saying like, oh, we know they're in the Super Bowl, we're gonna wait, but this is who we have our eye on.
We're gonna interview them
Yep.
because this is who we want for this position.
No.
They wouldn't even. Nobody even was interested. So my theory on that is, I think he really wants the Chiefs job.
That he wants to stay there. That
he wants to stay, and then eventually Andy Reid will
inherit it
just
from-
pass it. Yeah. But at the same time, teams should still be reaching out. Like,
Yes. So I actually saw that there's a lot of teams that did interview him, but obviously he didn't get the job. But there's one team in particular.
But they keep moving the goalposts. They'll say,
one
"Oh yeah,
team
we're
in
going to interview
particular.
him because it looks good to say that the organization interviewed the top candidate, but we are not really interested in whatever the case may be." But Houston ain't fooling with him.
If they want to keep Deshaun Watson happy, if they want to keep their quarterback.
He's already said, I don't care who y'all bring in here. I'm trying to get up out. How did August Alsina say? I can't breathe in this month. Get this up off of me. He trying to get out of there. They traded away his best friend, which was stupid.
That was.
But then they fired the coach that got rid of the player that should have stayed on the team in the first place. So if they knew that was going to happen, why did they even let him get rid of him? Like, no, you're not trading our guy. You could trade yourself.
But then I also saw there's some things with Deshaun
And then he got
Watson.
a job. Bill O'Brien got a job
he did.
right away.
Right away. I saw that. But there's nothing with Deshaun Watson that I've seen recently in that, especially with the Texans being somewhat of a racist organization, that at
Why
first
you put it in quotations like that? It is what it is.
yeah, that Deshaun Watson wasn't really trying to be the whole, not activist, but speak out against any type of racism. But then all of a sudden,
Well, it was
people
players.
like to. I remember I saw an interview with Josina Anderson, and she asked him, "Why don't you say anything? Why?" And he was just like, "I just don't fool with that. That's just your opinion." It's like, what? What are you talking about, bruh? But then all of a sudden, now he's doing all this stuff, saying, he don't like the organization. He's not fooling with them. He already wants out.
People say the same thing about Cap, though. It's like when everything was good, you wouldn't say nothing. Now that you're the backup, now all of a sudden you want to speak out and you're trying to
Deshaun
make it
Watson
about
ain't no
you.
backup.
I know that, but what I'm saying is people always try to twist the story to fit their narrative. And realistically, if you look at it, like a lot of players in the NFL, people just assume, oh, you play pro sports, you're a millionaire, you're set for life. There's like the top 5 guys on the team that fit that mold, but then there's like 55 other guys that, they're not check to check, but they're not nearly on the level that you think they are, like in terms of financial. So it's kind of like the owners know this. It's like if you want to get to that, because that first contract, the rookie contract, is way smaller.
Right, of course.
Even if you get drafted high, I want to say,
Especially now.
I want to say like Cam Newton was like the first rookie class where they put that what do they
That
call
clause in there
it?
where they can't
the
make
scale. They scaled the pay down because you had guys like
was it,
Jamarcus
Stafford?
Russell that was getting like
Matt Stafford.
60-something million and got nothing to show for it. So.
Nothing.
Oh
But a
no!
fur
It was
coat.
Sam Bradford.
Or was it
Sam
Sam- it
Bradford
was
that got
Sam
like
Bradford. I
70
was like,
million.
Stafford,
and it was
Sam
like
Bradford.
So you got these young guys coming in unproven, and they're making more money than the vets
That
off the
have-
rip. And the owners was like, oh yeah, we all for scaling. Yeah, scale it back. We don't want to have to pay these players. So they was all for it, and the vets was like, yeah, we don't want these young dudes coming in making more money than us, because all that does is just increase negotiations. Because
Right.
every year you want to be the top guy, but I can't be the top guy if you're paying a rookie the same money that I've played for 5-10 years to try to make. So they scaled that down to where Cam was making like $24 million. Then you can blame Jamarcus Russell for that. He tricked that opportunity out for a lot of people. But
I'll say it.
But you
Dummy.
got guys that's rookies coming in their first contract. Even if they're still getting money. Don't get me wrong. But it's
Oh,
nowhere
yeah, but it's nowhere near
like
what they
it
could've-
was.
they could've
So
got,
they
yeah.
it's kind of like those. What do they say? You have to go along to get along, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
To where you don't want to rock the boat too much because you ain't got your real money yet. So you
No,
kind of
you
just
just
have to
gotta
do
just
whatever the rest
fall
of the
in
team
line
is doing.
and- yeah.
Fall in line. obey the orders.
Don't
And
say
what better
nothing.
way to get the players to do that stuff than by hiring somebody that's going to toe the company line and make sure that that's the narrative that's put in front of these guys all the
Wouldn't
time.
that just cause more friction though?
Not really, because
Well,
it's conditioning. You got to think about it. From elementary school, middle school, high school, everything is about routine and schedule,
Right.
right? You get up, you go to class.
That's particular
Classes
times.
at this
Yep.
time, recesses at this time, lunches at this time. You have homework assignments that you do, and they say, you know what, you guys got it made right now. Next year, when you guys get to middle school, it's going to be a lot harder. You get to middle school, and it's the same thing. You just going to different classes and changing class, and they say, you guys got it easy right now. When you go
Wait
to
till you
high
get to high
school,
school.
wait till you get to high school. It's going to be a lot harder. You get to high school, it's the same thing, and before you know it, that's what you expect. So you don't think outside the box like, man, I could be my own businessman. And then when you get to college, they say, yeah, pick your classes, especially if you play sports. Pick your classes around this time so that you can go to practice and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Once I realized, like, wait, I don't have to take an 8 o'clock class on Monday. I don't have to get up till 12 if I don't want to. I can go
But
to
that's
class
the funny
late
thing
and-
about that is most college kids would pick the early classes so they'd be done by noon.
Yeah, and then what? You go home and do your homework and watch cartoons like you're not 7 anymore. But it's conditioning. So with athletes, it's the same thing. You have this
Okay.
routine. Even in college, you go to class, you go to practice, you go to weights, you go to meetings. Then they get to the league.
Film
It's
rooms,
the
just
same
everything,
thing.
yeah.
It's just minus the school educational part of it. So they don't really know how to function outside of that kind of structure. The ones that kind of, I guess, eat the forbidden fruit and their eyes are open, they're seen as the troublemakers because they're the ones bucking the system. Like Cap, for example. Like, why can't I bring attention to something that's going on in the world? Why can't I be an activist? It's, oh, well, you guys just got to shut up and dribble. Like, you guys aren't supposed to talk about, you're just supposed to play.
You're just supposed
Same
to
with
entertain
LeBron.
us.
You just entertain us. You guys beat yourselves up. You guys are being paid all this money. Just take the money and be happy. Like, you're getting paid to do a job.
Not like
Don't worry about this.
It's like
other
they still
stuff.
got to go outside. They still got to be outside of the court, off the field. There's still another black man, another Hispanic man, whatever.
So the friction doesn't really come from within because these guys have been conditioned. What's crazy is when I was a PE teacher, middle school, when a teacher would blow a whistle or like when a bell would go off, they make all the kids, they say, get to a low level. So like basically take a knee or squat down, right? In prison, if an alarm goes off or something happens and everybody's on the yard, what do they have to do? They have to get down. It's conditioning. They prepare
Wow.
them, they prepare their minds the exact same way, the same format.
Wow.
So the only way to get these players, I guess, to cooperate and do what's best for the organization, for the league, for the shield, as they call it,
Right.
to protect the brand,
The
is to
fraternity.
have somebody with a similar mindset as the ones that's at the top that can distribute the orders to everybody else. I'm going to flip it. How does that apply to religion? Because for the longest time, we tell people, no, you should have a relationship with God.
Right.
Da, 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 da. But then
But if you-
everybody is basing what they do more so for the approval of the leaders, the pastors or whatever. I want
it
to
shouldn't be for
go to
the-
church every Sunday so they see me in
for
the front
yourself.
row. It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be for yourself. You're supposed to follow the word of God and, you know, have that relationship with him for yourself. It's not for anybody else, no matter what anybody else thinks. You know, and that's why you should move in your accord, listen to the Holy Spirit for yourself. It's all for you. It's not for show.
So I think it was on the episode of The Pew where they're talking about about growing up in church or like some people that just didn't want to be in church anymore for whatever reason, right? And for the longest time, especially if you're on the inside looking out, you'd be like, oh yeah, those are the backsliders because they left the building, so to speak, right? Because those are the people that are actually thinking like, I want to explore this relationship with God for myself and not be fed from somebody else what to do or told to do. And those are the people that are the outliers, like in sports with Cap or even Kyrie. For whatever however you may feel about him, he's one of those people.
Yeah.
So, like, where do we go from there in terms of Like, it's always good to be a part of the organization, right? It's good to be a part of the fellowship and all that kind of stuff, but still be able to think for ourselves and still have a relationship for ourselves.
A personal relationship with God for you.
So how do we get directly to the owner, to the top? Bypassing the coordinators and the head coaches and the general managers and go straight to the top.
Straight to the top. Having a direct relationship.
Like the Raiders did with Al Davis. Because he loved his players. He thought the players would go over the coaches' heads to go to Al Davis. The Cowboys and Jerry Jones. They say the Cowboys are America's team and they have the little opening in the top of the stadium because it's so God can watch his favorite team play on Sundays. Ain't that what they say? I don't have a team personally, so
On that note, whose side are you on? Thank you for watching another episode of Whose Side Are You On? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, DM us, hit us up, let us know what you want us to talk about, because I'm sure there's a ton of debates out there where, you know, he'll be wrong and I'll be right. So
There's
make sure you
none of the debates that I'll be wrong about unless you just want me to choose that side. But
stay locked in. Make sure you hit that notification button and stay updated. See y'all later.
peace.